killer. Yo, what's up, everybody? Donald Pump, first again. Love that, bro. Donald Pump is the coolest name you could ever have. That's the greatest name ever, dude. Everybody should mimic Donald Pump and get an equally epic fucking name. That is rad. Hope you guys are doing great. I guess some preliminary stuff as we get some folks in here. Number one, consultations are back live. So for about a week or so, the software broke, and I've been working with the support team to try to get the software to function correctly to book consultations. And they finally came through and fixed the issue. Well, they actually pointed out the issue, and then I had to go and fix the issue, which I guess is fine. So consultations are back live at livecortex.com, and this was the part that was actually missing, like down here where you could actually book. The software just like wasn't working. So all the email consults are back. The phone calls are back. The protocol formulation 1 hour calls back. The 3-month program, all the larger programs are back. So you guys can now go officially book consults at livecortex.com because now the software is working again, thankfully. What other stuff has been going on as we get some folks in here? Let me talk about my test cream experiences. So yeah, I've been on testosterone cypionate for essentially the duration of the time that I've been on TRT. I brought in propionate just to see how would it affect me, and I did a video about that. I didn't really like the PIP. The libido was great. There were some additional side effects like, overstimulation, anxiety. It was a little hard to sleep. So I moved away from that, and I've been wanting to try cream to see if it would increase DHT at some market level where that would affect sex drive, libido, erection quality, or other, like energy. And so I brought it in. How long have I been on test cream? Almost a month or something. And I got to say, it's actually pretty cool. It gets a lot of like riffraff in the testosterone subreddit because it's messy. It's a little less convenient. Injections are very easy. You wake up, if you're injecting every day, fill an insulin syringe with however many units, and then inject, and you're on your way. Whereas cream, you got to take a shower, got to make sure the area is shaved. I have transdermal scrotal cream, so you got to kind of rub it on, and then it takes like 5 minutes to kind of dry, and like you got to do some other preparatory work in order to get it to fully absorb and not sort of sit there and like you can actually see some of the cream just still sort of sitting there. So I can say it's an absolute pain in the ass to do testosterone cream. However, I have had pretty profound results in terms of libido and erection quality, right? All that was good, but it's next level with cream because I'm obviously have higher DHT. I haven't ran labs on DHT, but I will soon enough to see exactly where it is. But the benefits are pretty substantial. With cream, there's no ester attached at all. So it's just very, very quickly. The pharmacokinetics are like, it's about 2 hours and then you're literally peaking. And if your dose is correct, you're probably going to be peaking to super physiologic levels within 2 hours. So I definitely notice it. Way more energy than testosterone cypionate. The drawbacks are the convenience. Libido is higher. But there are points at which it overstimulates me. So I'm probably going to dial the dose back. I'm on 2 clicks a day, 1 in the morning, 1 around 5 p.m. I may just try to run 2 clicks in the morning and see how that affects me, or maybe a click and a half in the morning, or maybe just a click in the morning and then a half click later on in the day. I haven't ran labs for total T, but I imagine it's above 1200 because I kind of know how I feel once I get to that range. I'm talking about testosterone cream that I just brought in for those of you that just jumped in. And yeah, all positives except for the fact that it's an inconvenience, right? It's just, no sex 4 hours after applying it kind of thing. I mean, you run a very small risk of like transferring it to a female partner, in which case, there's potential side effects for that. Or, they just get sexually stimulated because they need some degree of testosterone. I'm not sure I'm going to stay on testosterone cream. I want to be frank, just because of the inconvenience of it. I think the benefits are good. But I could probably get very close to that with HCG and just, running testosterone propionate or cypionate or enanthate, which is probably what I'm going to switch back to. I can say, however, as we get some more people in here, and no, I haven't really I don't think it's been long enough, but, there's a comment about hair loss on cream because of the DHT. I don't have the male pattern baldness gene. I don't. I mean, being on TRT, I would have noticed hair shedding. Initially, there was a little bit of hair shedding or hair thinning, but it just, my dad, who died at my age, 39, because he was an alcoholic, among other things, was not, nearly bald. He had a full head of hair, and he was an unhealthy person, right? So like I don't have the gene to go bald, so the test cream really hasn't affected my hair at all, which is very cool. And it was something I was somewhat concerned about, right? But I just kind of wanted to sort of try it out. Yeah, inconvenient, super physiologic test levels, very quick. So that feels very different than testosterone cypionate or enanthate. Somewhat like testosterone propionate, where like after administration, couple hours, you're peaking, man, and you absolutely feel it. Like you totally feel the energy. It's very, very powerful. The one thing that I've noticed about it is I think it's potently more androgenic and not a milligram per milligram, but I think because I'm going super physiologic very quickly, like it's just a higher anabolic, it has a higher anabolic potential. So I've noticed like while doing pretty much the same workouts that my shoulders are like more full, that's something very common when someone's on anabolic androgenic steroids or on the right testosterone dose where they're peaking pretty significantly. So I've noticed I'm certainly more anabolic on the stuff. Yeah, so overall pretty good experience, except for it's a pain in the ass. And I'm probably just going to ultimately switch back because the sexual benefits aren't, they're powerful, but I was okay where I was, right? And if I really wanted to, get the very powerful DHT benefits, I'd probably just cycle something like Proviron, which is a DHT analog with TRT. So that's my experience so far. Those of you that are here, pile in the questions and I'll get to them. I guess the last thing I wanted to mention is, look, for guys that are on TRT, I've been on both sides of not using HCG and then using HCG. I fully think that it is, look, I mean, I've seen guys that are on TRT that can not have HCG in the picture and they do just fine, right? But, testicle size is smaller, load size is smaller, sensation maybe 10 to 15%, maybe 20% less, orgasm quality less. I mean, you got to remember when you have your fully functioning testicular operation, it's just different. You have aromatase enzymes in the testicles, so you aromatize a little bit more than usual, which means more control within AI. But at the same time, you're increasing your 5-alpha reduction to DHT with just HCG. HCG will facilitate 5-alpha reduction of your testosterone to DHT, which is going to equal higher, more potently available DHT to bind, at these androgen receptors and provoke a genetic response of androgenicity. So I fully believe that HCG should be something that, I don't think everybody should be on it if you're on TRT, but look, if you want to keep everything functional, want to make a little more endogenous testosterone, as well as like have your loads better and sensation is fucking better. And so is climax ability. Then get on HCG. It hasn't been very long that I've been on HCG, but I love it. And I won't go back to not having HCG in my protocol. Now, and plus I'll be fertile at some point in the future. Maybe I'm already fertile now. We'll see. All right. So is there anything else I want to talk about? And I think that's it. So I'm going to get to your questions. And I guess we'll see what we got here. I got to scroll all the way up. Okay, so Mal N is saying, hey, can low free T and high estradiol cause hair loss? How would that happen? Yeah, I mean, high estradiol, no, typically not. High estradiol. Once you get very, very low in estradiol, you're siphoning more of your test to DHT, which will cause hair loss for susceptible individuals. Couldn't really see high estradiol causing hair loss, although, E2 does interact with hair follicles. It's a complex picture, mostly driven by DHT. Low free T, I mean, that would mean your sex hormone binding globulin is probably too high, in which case I don't see you 5-alpha reducing a bunch of your tests to DHT, so I don't really see that being an issue. Although I could be missing something. I'm not sure what would be causing that, but mechanistically I can't find a cause off the top of my head. S&C Nutrition is saying, then change to cream pre-workout. So first goes test cream was cool, but had more hair loss. Yeah, got it. Then changed to cream pre-workout or pre-sex, but did sub-Q injection of a blend of 80 of cypionate and 20 of test propionate. Do that once on a Monday and again Thursday. Okay, so you found a protocol that works for you. That's great. Yeah, I mean, look, some guys are just predisposed to the hair loss thing. As I was saying before, luckily I'm not. My dad at my age had a full head of hair. When I was fucking born, bro, when I was born, I had a full head of hair. So I'm one of those lucky guys. Like I just have lucky genes in areas and then unlucky genes in other areas. Like I'm only 5'10", I'm 5'11" on a good day. If I was 6'2", like I'd have the whole picture. So I lucked out with hair, but I'm only 5'10". So one of those things. Glad you got that figured out. Jason is asking, have you ever heard of nicotine for further aromatase inhibition from testosterone? I have, and it is not in any way potent. You may have some, I'm not even sure if there's aromatase inhibition, but there may be some, I don't know, some degree of like estrogen receptor occupying or something, or there may be some sort of very, very mild, aromatase blocking effect or occupation of the aromatase enzymes. I don't know what the literature says on it, but no, nicotine is not going to lower your estradiol, at any significant extent. Frankly, the only things that are going to, lower estradiol are being on, a DHT derivative, like Proviron, or others for predominantly like TRT, like being on a low TRT dose and then a DHT derivative, which kind of antagonizes at the genetic level the estradiol response, but at the same time, chemicals like Proviron are non-aromatizable, so they don't have the ability to be converted into estradiol. So if your protocol is either half or predominantly a DHT derivative, you'll have less estradiol. And then other than that, you're looking at Aromacin or Arimidex, and that's I know that sucks because, those are potent drugs, but the best way to handle that, the potency of those drugs, is to get the compounded 0.125 milligram tablets from Empower. I use them and it's absolutely changed like my entire protocol. Like, I do not get low estrogen sides. If I go too low, I start to notice, maybe my joints hurt a little bit or whatever. I'm really just feeling my workouts more significantly, which ultimately goes away, but it's so much easier to control with those compounded tablets, because when you're cutting a 1 milligram tablet in half on with a pill cutter and then trying to weigh the shit out at a milligram scale after you cut it in half again twice to get down to 0.125, you don't actually know if you're getting 0.125 of the material, because the tablet, it's like, how are they evenly distributing the actual drug throughout that tablet? It's 0.12 or so milligrams of that tablet is actually the filler. So the whole thing in general weighs 1.012, grams. And so it's not accurate, whereas the compounded tablets are. JR is saying, I'm harmed by a medicine called Reglan. How to recover from this? Yeah, I've seen you post comments before. It's sort of a contextless comment. So like you got to say like, hey, this is what Reglan does or did. What's the mechanism of action? What did you take it for? What exactly does it do? And then honestly, that's probably not something I can answer, but if you want a consultation on that, that's something I could look into and see if I could resolve for you. And the consultations are now back up at livecortex.com where you can actually book. The software was down for the last week or so. So good luck, my friend. And yeah, book a consult. I'm sure we can get it squared away. I just got to figure out exactly what that stuff is doing. Nudie Nude, still haven't received my testosterone package. It's been over a month. What clinic are you working with? Because that's a little ridiculous. Well, that's profoundly ridiculous. You might as well try to find a UGL source or something, or get a different clinic, because that should not be happening. Again, the compounded pharmacies and some of the pharmacies in general are backlogged, but I'm getting product from them and it's not taken a month whatsoever. I think when I renewed this last time and got the cream, it took about 2 weeks from the time of the renewal for the cream to show up. So, which is about 7 days longer than it usually takes, but not a month. So there's something really wrong there. Darren is saying, hey Ryan, what are good nootropics for learning and digesting a book? Noopept is a pretty profound chemical for that. I took myself from not being able to comprehend anything, like literally, I'm not exaggerating. I could read a page, go to the next page and be like, I forget what was on the previous page. I can't put all this together. And then when I started dosing Noopept, I was able to comprehend information crazily. To this day, I can comprehend information crazily. Now look, there's other nootropics in the mix too, but Noopept was the largest facilitator of that. If you can get yourself to respond well to pramiracetam, and I say that because it's kind of tricky with the dose. You go too high, you're going to get side effects. You go too low, you won't notice much. Then pramiracetam is incredible for digesting information. A lot of the college kids that may, book an email consult or like a small call or something with me, I usually suggest and get them on pramiracetam and they end up having a good time. Don't know the name of the test cream, not in front of me. It's from Empower Pharmacy. It's from Azoe Health, somewhere in Florida. I don't know, but it is a gel base and it's 400 milligrams per gram. Pretty sure that's, 400 milligrams per gram. I don't even think the name brand of the test cream is on the label of it. It's not that far from me, so maybe I'll take a break and go grab it, but I don't think the name brand is on it. Jason, faster racetam in the new Cortex. Definitely not. We can't put racetams in commercial products. It's illegal. It is a legal supplement, faster racetam, nootropic supplement. However, because it is studied in clinical trials, it has that weird gray area where the FDA likes to impose restrictions on it, and it's sort of ridiculous. So that's essentially the basis for why some companies will sell racetams for a while and then stop selling them. It's honestly like, I don't know if red herring is the word, like misattribution of fault, like misattribution of wrongdoing. It's not, there's nothing wrong. I mean, it's a legal supplement. So no, we're not putting faster racetam in the new Cortex stack, but the new Cortex stack will be a focus and flow stack, right? So it'll be stimulant balancer, just like we talked about yesterday and like we often talk about. It's very, very cool, very potent, very noticeable. The kind of productivity you get from it and how you feel from taking it is exceptional. Launching at the end of this month, early August at the very, very latest. S&C Nutrition, thoughts on Cypionate versus Enanthate? I mean, I fussed around with both, but not, I haven't had a lot of time on testosterone and enanthate. I really didn't notice a substantial difference except for maybe mildly higher libido on testosterone enanthate versus testosterone cypionate. And maybe that's because the testosterone and therefore the DHT is peaking slightly faster per injection based on a slightly shorter half-life. That'd be my guess. Malan saying press the like button, guys. Yes, I would appreciate if you press the like button. Back to cypionate versus an enanthate. Yeah, it's like once you get to the shorter esters, the much shorter esters, it's just harder to control estradiol. That's been my experience. Some people have a good experience on testosterone propionate and actually still have this stuff here because it's sat here since I did that video because I am not using it anymore just because of the PIP and I had to take a lot of Arimidex to keep estradiol under control because it was peaking very quickly. From the injection, it would be peaking later on that day, and I could actually feel it. And I started getting estrogenic side effects, and I hate that. I don't like having itchy nipples or, brain pressure or any of that weird stuff. I think both of them are great. If I were to choose one or the other, I'd probably choose testosterone enanthate. My clinic doesn't have it at the moment. They just run cypionate, so whatever, and that's why I'm on cream for now. Donald Pump is saying, do you get recognized out in public or met follows were out and about? Yeah, since I've been in Pittsburgh, this has never happened to me before other than living in Pittsburgh. I've had people walk up to me and be like, are you the Cortex Labs guy? They're like, Ryan. I'm like, I see this random person that I definitely don't recognize. And this was like, it was about a year ago or something. Guy came up to me and he's like, yo, bro, I watch your channel. I can't fucking believe you're here. Just recently realized you moved to Pittsburgh. I'm in Pittsburgh too. Super nice dude. It was cool. We had a conversation. He was hanging out with his chick and I was with this chick and it was fun. And then there was one other similar instance with a guy by himself on the North Shore when I was walking, recognized me and was like, yo, are you fucking kidding me? We had a quick conversation. Otherwise, not yet. I'm not famous enough. Mal N, what do I have to be concerned about when I have low free T and high estradiol? High estradiol, I mean, the primary things you should be concerned with are prolactin secretion, and that is there's ERA and ERB receptors in the pituitary, and when estrogen binds to them, it literally upregulates the lactotropes expression or secretion of prolactin. So, high estradiol is almost definitely going to push you over the edge of prolactin, which is going to mess with a lot of things, erection quality and libido. Libido is like dead. If you have high prolactin, which I have before, it's like nothing you can do can resolve the libido and erection quality problem. It's just, you're not getting around that. High prolactin also inhibits DHT synthesis via inhibiting 5-alpha reductase. High prolactin is a 5-AR inhibitor. Nobody talks about this, but it is true. Go look it up. So that's one thing that you would certainly want to look out for. But other than that, you've got estrogen receptors in penile tissue. And so when estrogen at high levels binds to it, this is where ED comes about, particularly venous leakage. And so you don't want to, I mean, you're going to have crappy erections with high estradiol. If you don't already, you eventually will. I don't know how much estrogen receptor binding it eventually takes to, really fuss with the vasculature, of that muscle, but, that smooth tissue. But I've seen it happen time and time again. Low free T, I mean, ultimately means you don't have a whole lot of biologically available androgen to bind a receptor. So what it seems like is you have high sex hormone binding globulin, and you can take boron to try to lower that, or you can get on TRT. I don't know if you're on TRT or not, but get on TRT and do frequent injections, and that should help. SNC Nutrition saying, what would be the significance of stanozolol cream by Empower? I don't know what that does, my man. Stanozolol. Let's see. Synthetic anabolic androgenic steroid. Okay. Which promotes cell growth, anabolism, and development, maintenance of masculine characteristics. Yeah, got it. Typical explanation for an androgen. Let's see what the difference is, though. It's a DHT derivative. Okay, good. Significance of stanozol cream would be you'd be making a ton more DHT. You wouldn't be making more DHT. You'd have a DHT response at the receptor side, which is potent androgen. Not very anabolic, but potent androgenic effects. So you'd probably have much more if you or you would have if you don't have spontaneous erections. That's one of the things that I'm noticing on cream. I'll get them on testosterone cypionate, but now it's just like fucking all the time, which I like. I like that. I mean, there's nothing better about like feeling like a man than your junk working like at max capacity, right? So DHT will do that. High DHT will do that, so long as nothing else is wrong, and there's all kinds of things that can go wrong, not the least of which is androgen receptor like mutations that prevent gene activation. I'm going to talk about that in an upcoming video, because I recently just found that there's some androgenic anabolic steroids that can fix broken androgen receptors, and there is such a thing. There is such a thing, my friends. So yeah, that's a DHT cream, man. It's a DHT derivative. It's probably going to give you very androgenic effects. Subroxy, I have. It was mildly stimulating and pretty interesting. Nothing to write home about. I haven't tried either of those. I attempted to bring cerebral lysin from an overseas source, and it got whacked at customs, which was just stupid. So don't have it yet. Haven't planned to bring it back in. Do you plan on ever upgrading your nicotine patch? No, I've tried the 14 milligrams and it overstimulates me. Very quickly too. I mean, 10, 15 minutes after administering it, I start to feel, it's a bizarre feeling, dude. I mean, nicotine is so powerful that, it can make your heart race and your chest feel very unpleasant. Almost like you feel like you're either having a panic attack or a fucking heart attack, which you won't. It's just an uncomfortable feeling. Like I've put the 14 milligram patches on. I've put the 21 milligram patches on. That thing I cannot tolerate for any more than 5 minutes. 14 milligram patch I could tolerate for a brief period, and then shit got really sketchy. And I started sweating and my heart was racing, and I just felt very, very not good. It's like if you've never smoked a cigarette before and then you just smoke 5 cigarettes, you'll feel terrible, so I stick with 7 milligrams, it's like I switch between all kinds of different nootropics and whatever. When I take it 7 milligram patch, that's all I need, honestly. That plus torque, and I'm like at 6 hours of energy, 8 hours of energy. Other questions, guys. I wanted to mention again, now the consultations are now functional again. They were not functional for about a week because the software started, basically glitching on me. So now you can actually go back and book for email consultations, call consultations, protocol formulation consultations, my bigger programs, annual consultations. You can actually go and self-book now. And that's been down for an entire week. We finally got that squared away, thankfully. Support teams, man. All right, if you guys got any questions, ask them. I will answer them. I will put them on the screen and we'll get them going. I was talking about my experience, so far. I brought in a bunch of different things. I got on HCG. I brought in Test Cream. I like the cream. No hair loss, potent androgenic effects, libido, etc. Pain in the ass, though, honestly. Pain in the ass to do. It's just like, twice a day. What do you do when you're out? You know what I mean? It's like, I was out with this chick a week and a half ago or something, and I'm like, okay, so I guess I'm just not going to apply it now and wait till 8 o'clock tonight to apply it and then not apply it. Like, I don't know. It's one of those things, right? Whereas you inject in the morning with, cypionate or enanthate, and, that's it. You're done for the day. The bringing human chorionic gonadotropin has been absolutely game-changing for the maintenance of the sexual system, a little more endogenous test, but climax sensation, general sensation, testicle size, obviously, load quality, and those things are important. For a while, I was like, I don't really care. I'll wait to get on HCG to the point where I meet a girl and I want to get her pregnant. But I just got to the point where I was like, you know what? I want to try to see if this will improve this and this. And if for vanity's sake and for testicular health's sake, I could, get those babies functional again. And honestly, love it. I love it. I'm running at this point. What am I running? 250 IU every day. 250 IU. That's where I've landed. I tried a couple different protocols now. That's about 1750 a week, something like that. And I can control it perfectly with an AI at this point. With my testosterone cream dose as well as the HCG. That's one thing I wanted to mention about the cream is the peaks do make me need more Arimidex. So that's one of the reasons I'll probably switch back to just injectable testosterone at some point, probably relatively soon. And, there's pros and cons. Darren is saying, what are good nootropics for tasks like a big house cleaning? Anything dopaminergic. Yeah. Torque would be great for that. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that you take. It gets you to want to do stuff. So 2 capsules of Torque would do you good. 7 milligram nicotine patch would do you good if you're used to it and don't get side effects from it. Teacrine fasiracetam will help. Modafinil will get you to want to clean your house and be productive for sure. Alcar, very energizing, will make you want to do stuff. A lot of the nootropics that are energizing and not necessarily improving of cognitive function, like memory or something, they will get you to want to do work. Most of the racetams will probably want to get you to do that too. But I mean, I think you're more likely to want to do something cerebrally intensive rather than cleaning. You have to have energy and kind of have dopamine firing because you're picturing the reward of the house being clean, and that drives you to do it. Donald Pump, what's business going to look like 2 years from now? Good question. Probably another stack launched. So the new Cortex is launching at the end of July, early August. It's a different formula. The thing is sick. So that's a new thing. Torque launched last July, and it's been killing it since we launched it. And but in 2 years from now, more of the same, but I'll have another stack out. I'm not sure if it's going to be a nootropic stack or a pre-workout or an anti-anxiety stack. It'll probably be, like an anxiolytic. I think there's a good market for a good, effective anxiolytic or sleep stack. So that's what it's going to look like supplement-wise. I may or may not get into affiliate linking to products that I trust, but will also give you the caveats to. A lot of the YouTubers now that are pushing, everybody else's products will talk up a product and not give you the caveats because they want you to click on the affiliate links. So I may end up bringing some affiliate, like good trusted sources of good shit that I trust and have used in. Other than that, consultations, I mean, there's consultations and then there's longer term consulting. That stuff has taken over a good degree of, my 16 or 17 hour waking period, where I'm doing consultations, maybe a 30-minute hour call, but then I'm getting hired by companies to consult their fleet of salespeople, and then I'm being hired by individuals who are, running marketing for FanDuel, and they need to function for 18 hours a day, then sleep well, then function again. So a lot of consulting. I mean, the business is that's now almost the biggest part of the business. In fact, it'll probably take over, the sales from Cortex and Torque and ancillary products like the courses very soon. I mean, a company just paid me nearly $50,000 to hire to consult their top people, their salespeople. So that's basically what the company's going to look like. Just continuing to grow, continue to get out there, continue to grow the YouTube channel as much as YouTube will allow us to grow. And I also want to I'm trying to work on doing more collaborations, because that helps the channel get out there more too. Adam is saying, would oil-based enanthate or cypionate applied topically on scrotum absorb? No, I don't believe that it would. I don't know how it would. I mean, you'd have to get a derma roller, which is like micro needling, and open up the pores, and maybe that'll absorb at some capacity. But you're not even getting sub-Q. You're just getting is it the dermis? I know what the top layer is. You're not even the subcutaneous tissue. And so I don't know. You need some sort of way for that material to then get into your bloodstream. Like when you inject it subcutaneously, your metabolism, how you're moving the area, blood flow to the area obviously facilitates the distribution. Injecting the muscle, you got blood vessels, facilitates the distribution. Whereas if you were to, rub an oil-based, like, testosterone with a carrier oil, yeah, I don't think you'd get any absorption. Or you'd get, nil absorption, like not a whole lot. Why did that get cut off? Let me see. Okay. So question from Stream618 is, hold on. Is it a bad idea to upregulate D1, D2 receptors with cordyceps? No, not a bad idea. Nope. Unless you get to the point where you start having extreme paranoia and you're hypersexual, and then you want to you start gambling, and then you get addicted to gambling, and you pick up a cigarette habit, and you've never smoked before. Those are the kind of things that indicate hardcore D2 receptor agonism or upregulation. So you're not going to do that with cordyceps, and or phenylpiracetam. And phenylpiracetam may push you to that edge because it's a mild dopamine reuptake inhibitor, but nowhere close to stuff that either upregulates the receptors like 9-MeBC, which can absolutely have a very potent dopaminergic effect. Very, very potent dopaminergic effect. That stuff is it's studied for Parkinson's, man. And we have it available to us to use. You got to respect it. It's very powerful. Or hardcore agonism, like with cabergoline or bromocriptine, the D2 agonists, that will, give you make you hypersexual and whatever. Have strange addictions and stuff. But you're not going to do that with cordyceps. Sim or Kim is saying, any thoughts on DHA for a natural athlete? Yeah, I think it's okay. I mean, I think you're going to ultimately end up making a little more testosterone. It's a neurosteroid, so you may be in a slightly more balanced mood, but I don't think it's that potent, overall. But I'm speaking from the perspective of having tried everything natural, right? Stuff that worked, and then going on synthetic androgens, TRT, and high DHT converting testosterone cream, and it's just different world completely. Someone was commenting on my, a couple of you have been commenting on my physique. Yeah, I mean, TRT is no joke for predominantly recovery. It's like I'm doing all the hard work at the gym, but I last longer. I can push harder. I can work out on a Monday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, a Thursday, a Friday, a Saturday, and a Sunday, and then go back Monday and feel fine. That's one of the greatest benefits. Plus, I'm more anabolic. I am more anabolic, right? Generally from having higher testosterone or stable high testosterone. And super physiologic peaks like the cream I was talking about before. I mean, the cream peaks in 2 hours. So based on my dose, I'm super physiologic. I'm all over the reference range in 2 hours. It's a little overstimulating, but it's anabolic as hell. The cream, man, people talk shit on the cream on Reddit. They're just repeating stuff that they don't know. 99% of them haven't tried it. This is a scrotal application of the cream. So I use a derma roller, microneedling the area, open up the pores. One full click scrotal application. If there's any leftover on the applicator, I just rub it on my shoulders, and that's about it. Again, all positives except for some overstimulation, a little harder to control estradiol, but not terrible. The only negative is it's an absolute pain in the ass. If I'm on a date or something, or out with this chick that I've been seeing, and it's 7 p.m. when I'm, where I usually apply it at 5, but I'm out at 5 walking around Pittsburgh or something. It's like, what the fuck? What am I going to bring it with me? I just skip it on those days. So what's what I'd say about that? Notice any negative side effects with your tea protocol. My current protocol, yeah, the negative sides from my current protocol, which is cream and HCG and Arimidex, is one that when the testosterone is peaking, especially in the evening, because I run it at 5 p.m. as well. Yeah, I mean, my brain feels almost like it is moving too fast for maybe a half hour, 45 minutes, and that's almost definitely when it's peaking, right? When I'm running super physiologic levels of test, higher than I'm used to, and then it somewhat quickly then kind of goes back down, but still stays in physiologic levels, so it doesn't get deficient. Where and HCG being in the picture, a little more aromatase expression, so I'm converting slightly more of that testosterone to estradiol. The high peak from the cream is making me make more estradiol. So I'm increasing the Arimidex dose. I've got that dialed in, so I feel fine. But then ultimately that's a negative. I'd rather take less Arimidex and whatever. When I switch back to a testosterone with an ester, a carrier oil, which I'm almost definitely going to just because of the convenience factor, then I won't. Then the protocol is going to be 100% side effect less. But yeah, whenever my dose was right and different experimentations, I had side effects on TRT, sure. It's wonderful, but it can give you sides if your protocol is not right. And even for people that's protocols, like people have a hard time dialing the protocol in, particularly because of estradiol. And everyone's scared to take an AI and, don't know how to dose them and all that sort of stuff. Book me, livecortex.com if you need help with your protocol. Salvador is saying, on top of caffeine and Noopept, I'm looking for other nootropics to help me learn as much as I can with my new job. Would these two be sufficient? They're merely two tools in the large arsenal is about 50 compounds. Look, I mean, you should bring in all of the racetams, all 7: piracetam, aniracetam, oxiracetam, phenylpiracetam, fasiracetam, pramiracetam, and experiment with low doses of all of them separately with a low dose of a choline source to see how they affect you. You should bring in modafinil or, its pro-drug adrafinil, or its precursor adrafinil, and see how you respond to that, because that stuff's very potent. It's not liver toxic despite all the repeated nonsense on the web. It's not liver toxic. It's never been proven. There's no paper. People just made that up. It's amazing how that happens. Other than that, acetyl L-carnitine is a very powerful chemical. Teocrine. Do I have teocrine here? Yep. Teocrine. Very, very powerful nootropic chemical for that. And plenty of other ones. This is what I would suggest you do if you want to have access to more options, is go to livecortex.com. That's our website. And there's a bunch of options. If you want just stacks, just get Stack List. So that's a digital downloadable guide that is no frills. It literally is no bullshit. There's an intro, and then it's carefully crafted, highly effective nootropic stacks. And these are all from clients of mine that I have tested and documented. So, it's just you can't get better than that. If you want to get more advanced and also watch me for an hour and 15 minutes talk about nootropics, then get Nootropics Ground Zero. That's a video course. The next level up from that, which teaches you kind of how to, what the people at about 6 years do relative to nootropics, get the Nootropics Masterclass. But the highest level course that exists on the internet and that I've ever created is the Nootropics God course. And you can get that thing at livecortex.com. That's the 10 to 15 year mark. That's if you want access to the best stacks in the world, as well as how to, use them, get the God course. But all of our guides, there's plenty of guides with a lot of stacks in them too. So that's what you should look at. All right, guys, I like your questions here. Got a ton of questions, man. Move this over just a little bit. Top nootropics for memory that will not increase BP and heart rate. I'd say probably PRL 853. Yeah, PRL-853 shouldn't increase your heart rate, but will improve memory very substantially. The second one would be IDRA-21, IDRA-21. Same thing. Memory improvement shouldn't increase heart rate. All right, we got a super chat. Thanks for the super chat, Jammer. Really appreciate it. You guys can super chat your questions if you'd like. You can ask them for free as well. Keep in mind, super chats will get a deeper dive, and they also support the channel. Jammer is saying, should I avoid certain nootropics when running a cycle of 9 MEBC, for example, modafinil? Yeah, you should probably avoid modafinil if you're running 9 MEBC. I mean, look, it can be done, and I've stacked them together, and I was fine. But 9 MEBC is so strong at, upregulating dopamine function that it's like, the reason I say this is because when I take too high doses of 9 MEBC, I start feeling impulsive, very dopaminergically impulsive. And that's not like me. And I know my dopamine is going like very, very high, at that point. And so, other dopaminergics, it's like it wouldn't really be the best idea to have other dopaminergics in the mix if you're prone to that or if you're worried about that, so... And, it's essentially just a restorative compound for dopamine restoration, and it's also going to sensitize you to your stimulants more, make your stimulants hit harder. So while you can stack it with other things, it's useful just to be taking it. And it's, originally meant for kind of capacity, at least nootropics wise, which is like a repair capacity. Yeah, I think you'd be fine taking like Mucuna purines or something, but anything that's forcing more dopamine to be around, that's a hard pharmaceutical like modafinil, you probably want to tread lightly or avoid entirely. All right, guys. Other questions, friends? I think I missed some stuff. Thoughts on creating a natural test booster stack? Too general of a question. I mean, there's a protocol I put together about 20 chemicals that will do that. But, it's inefficient, 20 chemicals. You're better off just injecting kisspeptin or HCG or ganatorelin, to make your own endogenous intratesticular testosterone. The supplements, it's like, I'm only speaking from the perspective of like, reaching 39 years old and then not being able to, with supplements, keep my test height started dropping. No idea why, just the mechanics stopped working in response to the supplements that I was taking, and that's ultimately, one of the reasons I went on TRT. Jimmer, thanks for the $2. How many hours before bed to add faster acid? About an hour. I mean, that stuff kicks in 25 to 50 minutes, is really what you're looking at. So an hour before bed, half hour before bed, that's an adequate or like an appropriate time to take faster acetam. Stuff's very powerful. I used to take it for sleep. I had an ex-girlfriend who took it for sleep and it worked. Many of my clients take it for sleep and it works. Caffeine prevents the absorption of nutrients. Not sure. How could that work? Maybe through lowering stomach acid. That could happen, but I would imagine it's marginal. If it was that big of an issue, it'd be an epidemic because everybody on the planet drinks coffee. Yeah, saying torque wrecks my sleep. Am I dosing it wrong? Probably not. It's just very potent, and you may be dosing it too late in the day. And you're maybe sensitive to adenosine receptor blockade. It is promoting wakefulness, heavy wakefulness, right? It's like modafinil. Torque is like, comparable, honestly. And in that regard, because you have two wakefulness promoting agents, well, really 3, 4, actually the whole stack is wakefulness promoting, but, as far as adenosine receptors go, you have teacrine and theobromine in there. So if you're taking it too late, it's going to mess with your sleep. You got to get it in, daytime. Don't take it past 7 is what I would say, and you should be fine. Unless you're an outlier, where, you just respond very strongly to like adenosine receptor blockers. Darren wants to know my thoughts on this protocol. 4 days on phenylpiracetam, 3 days 9-MeBC. Well, if you're taking them separate, you should be fine. But keep in mind, phenylpiracetam being a dopamine reuptake inhibitor, and then 9-MeBC being dopamine neuron generation and dopamine enhancement at the genetic level, which is very potent for dopamine restoration. I mean, it was studied for Parkinson's. Like, that's what it was born for. It's potent stuff, man. You got to kind of be careful, not to run into pro or very high dopaminergic side effects, which are impulsiveness, hypersexuality. You know, you don't want to cheat on your wife because you're like, you know, hypersexual or something. Addictions, you know, pick up a drinking habit or smoking habit or something out of nowhere, gambling, you know. So you got to be careful. But, you know, that's just the worst case scenario. You'd probably be fine doing what you're doing. I would not take them on the same day. That's just me personally. I have, but I do that kind of stuff to experiment, you know, and just sort of see. And I'm trying to be, you know, presumably I'm honest, and conservative, so I have to be, you know, conservative with my suggestions. NED, no, but what did I take recently? That didn't have any effect, but I'm not sure that I need, you know, to have like what it ends up doing. I was taking not NAD plus, but nicotinamic mononucleotide, NMN, and that ultimately, yeah, well, it essentially restores, you know, intracellular NAD plus or NAD. No noticeable benefit for me, but I'm not sure that I need to be taking it. So it's one of those things that gets a lot of hype. Look, I've read a lot of, you know, anecdotals of it, like substantially helping some people that were in really terrible situations. So I can't sit here and say it's like not significant, but I personally have not seen it do a whole lot. Zaid is saying modafinil long-term, safe. Hard to say, you know. I think that, well, it's like, how do you define safe? Are you going to have liver toxicity? No. Are you going to die from it? No. Are you going to have side effects? Potentially, if the dose is wrong. Is it going to disrupt your sleep? Potentially, if it's taken too late or the dose is wrong. The literature suggests via excessive dopaminergic activity that you can end up with a temporary facial muscle spasm. So like maybe your cheek will twitch or your eye will twitch or something like that. In which case ceasing the drug will fix that. Otherwise, no. That's what's so epic about it. I haven't come across any large scale side effects with modafinil. You know, it has its action, you know, mode of action in keeping you awake and having you release more dopamine, inhibiting GABA, and then it goes away. You know, if you're taking it consistently, that may build up. Ultimately, though, the only issue to look out for with modafinil is just side effects, right? You know, eventually overstimulation, sleep disruption, when you stop taking it, being in a subpar state. So cycling is useful. Jeff, happy 4th. Thoughts on B1 and TTFD? Yeah, TTFD is a wonder chemical. I have dealt with, mild reflux that refluxes into my larynx for many years. And, you know, most of it is gut bacteria related, but on somewhat of a recent, abdominal CT, there was some sort of twist in a very small part of my intestine. So I think that that's what's causing that. But TTFD helps substantially because it helps you make more stomach acid. You know, it could actually fix reflux, you know, heavy reflux in people that have reflux. So I think the stuff is very, very powerful. I've discussed and covered some anecdotals of guys recovering heavy fatigue syndromes from taking TTFD. I mean, it's necessary for acetylcholine synthesis and dopamine synthesis and a lot of other things. So I think this stuff is cool. Jammer with $2. Thanks for the $2. Uridine with 9-MeBC. All right, so uridine would be potentiating the receptor level of dopamine binding, and mostly working on neurogenesis. I have taken the two together, and it was too dopaminergic for me personally. I mean, maybe it'd be fine for you. I wouldn't really suggest it. I think you'd have to trial it and see. It's not unsafe. So, you know, you're not going to run into some catastrophic event or anything. But Again, you push too much dopaminergic potentiation, I just have to be conservative and say that's not fun, because I have done that before and I was very impulsive and, I maybe got myself into trouble. Hi, Barry. NSI 189, I don't believe so, but NSI 189, isn't that code name for another chemical? Oh, no, yeah, that's the neural stem chemical for MDD. Forget exactly what it's doing. Why doesn't it have... Yeah, neurogenesis promoting. I mean, I've taken all kinds of neurogenesis agents, and probably the most potent would be dihexa. Dihexa was very, very powerful for that. But 9-MeBC promotes neurogenesis too. I fully believe that. Barry is asking, can you do a video on dopamine downregulation from all aspects and how to remedy it, as in downregulation, receptor sensitivity, enzymes, dopamine production? Yeah, I have done content on that before relative to 9-MeBC. If that's your problem, 9-MeBC will likely solve it. But there's a lot of conflating of other problems with dopamine receptor issues. Now, I don't know your situation. Maybe it is dopamine, right? But 9 times out of 10, when people come to me and they think dopamine is the problem, it's not dopamine. It's something else. Dopamine may be intermediary, like it may be being fussed with from high estradiol or too high testosterone or too low testosterone. And therefore, you don't have enough synthesis and then release of dopamine. Testosterone works through tyrosine hydroxylase to upregulate dopamine synthesis. And so, there's that. And like a lot of other people may have some fatigue syndrome happening where they think dopamine is a problem. It's really their fatigue. And the fatigue is coming from, who knows these days. Maybe they were vaxxed or they had long COVID, both of which are going to cause, for susceptible individuals, systemic inflammatory response at some level, vascular endothelial damage, that's going to cause brain fog. So it's like you don't really know what, what may be contributing to what you think is a dopamine deficient state. So it's hard to say. Your best bet is to try to get the PIS test for neurotransmitters, urine tests, so you can actually look at where your neurotransmitters are at some degree of accuracy. And if you have, noticeable deficiency or even marginal deficiency in dopamine on those test results, that would be the time to address it. Yeah. But if you don't know, people talk about downregulation like that's normal. It's very abnormal. Very abnormal, almost always something else. You can't really downregulate the dopamine receptors unless you take Parkinson's drugs for a long period of time. And not 9-MeBC, that's a pro-Parkinson's, but not a dopaminergic like agonist or something. You'd be looking at cabergoline, bromocriptine, pramipexole, and actual L-Dopa. And even then so, downregulation of the dopamine receptors can kind of be controlled by lowering estrogen. If you lower estradiol, then less estradiol is bound to dopamine receptors, and therefore the dopamine receptors upregulate from having lower estradiol. So if you were to just take an aromatase inhibitor or doing something other than that, like maybe high dose zinc, if you're not on TRT, to lower estradiol, you would indirectly upregulate dopamine receptors. That's true. So I want to look at that. Serene is saying, is DuPet both dopaminergic and cholinergic? Can't really find a dopaminergic mechanism for that. But, acetylcholine and dopamine work in a way where acetylcholine is functioning better, you're going to release a little more dopamine than usual. And you may just end up releasing more dopamine because you're functioning better. Your brain's functioning better. So directly, not dopaminergic. Barry is asking, thoughts on 9-MeBC sublingually versus orally? Yeah, it's a terribly tasting chemical. I've tried it. I heard about the people that's horseshit. That's Reddit being Reddit. 9-MeBC is effective orally. You just have to if you have to take a higher dose, fine. You don't want that very, very hardcore chemical taste in your mouth. It's not good. I'm not sure that's necessarily good for your stomach to do it like that. You want it in a capsule to then digest evenly downstream. This whole notion that oral bioavailability is like substantially low in a way which renders it nil is made up. That's Reddit for you. Driving to the States to get neurotransmitters tested. Got it. Lloyd McLeod, what's happening, bro? Does it make sense to take Bacopa daily as a supplement for a year? Yeah, sure. You'd want to bump it up to 600 if you want to get major benefits from it. 300 will still give you benefits, don't get me wrong. But I think you'll get more benefits in terms of axon and dendrite expansion, which is just going to help nerve terminals fire better in your brain. Is there some cholinergic action to that? Mildly, and it's a SERT upregulator. So it'll make your serotonin system work better. Bacopa at 600 milligrams. 300 will do the same, just to a lesser extent. Good questions, people. I don't know what you guys got planned today, but I think I'm going to get some exercise in after this. I'm going to do a long walk on the south side of Pittsburgh today. There's this like cool river trail that I like to go on. So I do that. I mean, I just need to do lifting weights in the morning and cardio. Like I said on that video of my cardio routine, I just need it. I need it. I get to the point where like an addict needs their booze or whatever. I need my walk. Need it. So that's what I'm gonna do later. Maybe dinner with a chick tonight. I'm not sure. What's today? Saturday. Yeah, I'm not sure. Consultations are back at livecortex.com. The software was down for many days, and now it is back up. Okay, so you guys can actually now go book email consults, biohacking consults. So just to give you an idea of like how this works, you just click which consultation you want. Let's say you want a 15-minute targeted email consultation. You go to next, you pick your boy, and then you pick a time slot. That's it. I've got a lot of time slots open. I've got to modify this because I won't be around on the 4th. But you literally just select the time slot, enter your name, and then pay, and you're done. But that capability was gone for an entire week via a software problem that we just fixed. I want to let you guys know that. Yeah, so Staunch is a potent regulator of Leydig cells in the testicle. So, you'll make them function better, which will make you more efficiently make testosterone intratesticularly. But it's just one part of the pathway. Testosterone is gonadotropin releasing hormone. No, before that it's gonadotropin releasing hormone, and then gonadotropin releasing hormone, and then pituitary sends out LHFSH. Testicles get binded to from the LHFSH, make testosterone. So Staunch only addresses the testicular level of that. There's many other, parts of the pathway that may need to be optimized to improve testosterone. Screen 618, which racetams to avoid pairing Noopept with? Well, PRL and Hydra are different than racetams. I don't think you should avoid. I don't think you need to avoid stacking racetams with Noopept or PRL with Noopept. But if you're gonna, like as an example, dose PRL with Noopept, dose them both low. That's the only way that I'm able to tolerate it without getting weird side effects. Like the opposite of good memory. Like my memory goes to shit if I dose PRL plus Noopept at 10 milligrams each. Whereas if I dose 5 milligrams each, I feel great. Same thing with Hydra 21. Just medium dose them. Otherwise, it isn't an issue. But yeah, too much and you're going to run into too much choline signaling, and that gives you brain fog and side effects. Successful veteran asked a question about caffeine blocking the absorption of other nootropics. No, I don't think so. If anything, potentiates it for sure. Yeah. I mean, there may be some mild stomach acid inhibition, which would prevent some sort of absorption from a chemical, but I don't think that again, that'd be an epidemic if it was a real big thing. It's probably very, very marginal at best. So I don't think that's a big issue. Hope you guys are having a great day. Hope you guys have plans, or if not, watch a cool movie. What movie did I watch recently that was epic? Look, Gerard Butler. Okay. I don't know if you guys know who that is. He's besides like, I don't know, Tom Cruise, who's another really great actor. I don't know. Gerard Butler, fucking awesome. He's a man's man, right? He's smart. He's a good-looking, strapping lad. He always plays these roles where he's like the savior of something, and he solves a problem. Like in Geo World, was it? Geostorm? Fucking save Earth from like total annihilation. I watched Plane, which is a dope movie. They crash a plane on some wacky island, get taken over by some, mercenaries or whatever, and him and this other guy have got to get out of it. And then, what did I watch? Kandahar. So he's a CIA agent, Gerard Butler, goes to Afghanistan and, to, covertly blow up a nuclear plant. Maybe it was Iran. Yeah, Iran. And then thereafter, they find out it was him. He's still in country, and they target him. And through the whole movie, he's just being, targeted by Taliban and, other folks. And, him and a few other people have to live through it. It's just dope. It's called Kandahar, and it is amazing. I heard that Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible, the Mission Impossible series, has a new movie. It's called like Dead Something. And I'm pumped about that because it's going to be sick. I mean, Tom Cruise in the Mission Impossible movies are just, there's nothing like it, man. Nothing like it. It's not like Jason Bourne, the Bourne movies. It's not like anything. It's its own thing. It's Mission Impossible, bro. It's so dope. It's not like James Bond. By the way, the guy that played Superman, in the newest Superman movie, I think he's going to be the next Bond, which is good because Daniel Craig's, 60s or something. Don't have any experience with growth hormone. Jammer. Thanks for the $5, brother. Wife takes 630 modafinil, 150 oxyracetam, 600 Alcar, 400 alpha GPC, 150 teacrine. Has trouble sleeping at night. Thoughts? Yeah, the 630 modafinil should be fine. She's doing all of this at 630 because it shouldn't really be all that active later. But there is something to say for the potentiation of the wakefulness via like having modafinil and teacrine in the picture. That combo is very strong. So there may just be some excessive wakefulness that is happening that is preventing her from sleeping. What I would suggest, if she likes how she feels on that stack, is to bring in valerian root at nighttime. Valerian root. I'll type it in the chat. Valerian root. 500 milligrams to start. Valerian. Is that how you spell it? Valerian root. Probably about 30 minutes before bed. Plus 2 milligrams melatonin. Yeah, that would be the strategy to keep the doses the same on this protocol. If she likes how she feels with that protocol, add this at nighttime. 500 milligrams valerian, 2 milligrams melatonin. She'll probably sleep perfectly, and not wake up groggy. And if she does, have her take her stack and that'll solve that problem. But yeah, I mean, there may be something to say for the modafinil and the teacrine, because now you have two sleep inhibiting chemicals in the picture. You have modafinil at the orexin level, inhibiting sleep and tiredness, and then you have teacrine at the adenosine receptor, caffeine-like level, inhibiting tiredness. So the both of them may be potentiated in such a way which makes her not sleep well. Good question. Thanks for the $5. But definitely run this strategy. Have her run that at night. It's a safe, non-liver toxic, effective way to induce sleep, and simple. That's like low stakes. See if that helps. Great question. Good question. DJ Millen is saying, would coloracetam stack well with Nootropics? Yep, absolutely. Yeah, they both kind of do similar things. Dose them medium dose to start. Something like 7 milligrams Nootropics, 15 milligrams coloracetam, 10 to 15 milligrams. See how you fare. See how it affects you, and then kind of go from there. All right, guys, I'm going to end the stream. Good questions. I will be doing probably another stream next Saturday. I want to get back into the routine of doing them. I've been traveling for the last several months or whatever, on and off. I'll be traveling again August, 15th to the 25th or something. I hope you guys have a nice 4th. I will be doing more content before the 4th, so look forward to that, but I won't be live streaming with you guys before the 4th. So have a safe 4th. I hope you guys get to see some great fireworks. I'm in the middle of trying to make plans. So I'm not sure if I'll be in Pittsburgh or not. But if I am, Pittsburgh's show is going to be awesome. So maybe I'll get some pictures of it and post them on the channel or something. Have a great rest of your day. What is today? Saturday? Yeah, enjoy your weekend, guys. Hopefully some of you that work regular jobs where you have a schedule have off Monday, because then you got Tuesday. It's like, why would they make you go back to work Monday? I hope you have a 4-day weekend effectively. Be safe. Enjoy the 4th. All that Americana shit for the 4th. I'm all about it, bro. So, let me transfer that to you and back to me. Content coming this week. Happy Canada Day. And I'll talk to you guys soon. All right. Later. Great questions.